Just before the video starts, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you! So at the start of May, I packed up my touring bike Emmylou and I got ready to go on another bike trip to India. But why was I going? To understand that, we need to rewind to December 2022 when I was on my bike trip from Alaska to Argentina. I had just arrived into La Paz in Baja, Mexico after cycling 900 kilometers with one leg. But that's another story. Whilst in La Paz, I met a lovely couple called Mahil and Kiara. Mahil was setting a Guinness World Record handbiking from Alaska to Baja California, a distance of over 5,400 kilometers, all within the strict world record rules. We spent the final week of 2022 together, and Mahil and I got on like a house on fire. I continued speaking with Mahil throughout my trip, and once I reached South America, he let me know his next endeavor. Mahil wanted to cycle from sea level in Khambhat up to the world's highest road, Umling La, at 5,800 meters, to break the world record for handbiking at the highest altitude. Unfortunately, I could only offer 3 weeks of help, but I was buzzing to help as much as I could. The team slowly started to shape up. You of course had Mahil, the record breaker, Sam, the main support rider, and Chris, another Englishman. We would all fly out to Mumbai at the start of May, regroup there and build our bikes, and then get a train to the start line in Khambhat before Mahil would handbike over 2,200 kilometers to Umling La. It all sounds so easy, doesn't it? But first, we had to get there. Chris and I were flying out of Heathrow first, so I got a lift up with my mum and we met him at the airport. After getting our bikes and bags checked in, we headed through security and boarded the flight. It was a fairly easy flight, just on the most retro plane I've ever been on, which I absolutely loved. Once in India, we retrieved the bikes and bags before Tetrising them into this taxi. I left my last trip with a bit of travel fatigue, which was under 2 months ago. But despite this, I have to say, I was absolutely loving being back in the travelling mix again. To be thrown into a different culture, from the street signs to the traffic to the food, was just awesome. Chris and I pretty much had a day to ourselves where we restored our energy levels after the overnight flight and got some of our first local food before Sam and Mahil arrived and the team finally got together. The next day we spent the morning building our bikes, ready for the journey ahead, before heading over to the train station to book our travel up to Khambhat and grabbing some lunch. We decided to head up to Khambhat a bit earlier than expected, so our last day in Mumbai was a bit of a rush. After we'd eaten, we cycled back to the hostel and packed up our stuff before turning around pretty quickly and heading back to the train station. It was here that stress levels got a little bit high when we were told that there was no way our bikes would be going on the overnight train, but after a bit of back and forth and some money exchanging hands, we managed to figure the situation out. For the next 3 hours there wasn't too much we could do, so we parked up in the main hall waiting for our train. The conductor walked us over to the train about 30 minutes before departure and told us our bikes would be the last things to be put on board. We knew that trains in India were incredibly punctual, so with 2 minutes to go and our bikes still not yet on board, we were pretty stressed. To compound this, I had about 10 bags to carry onto the train, as we couldn't store them with the bikes, but had about a kilometre to run to get to my seat. In the end, the bikes finally made it on board, and I ran to the nearest door and hopped on just in time. With the team, bikes and bags on board, we grabbed a quick breather and got some food. We then headed to bed for a few hours rest, but waking up at 2 AM, the stress continued. As the train stopped in Vadodara, the team split up. Half of us focused on getting all the bags off the train, whilst the other half ran down to make sure the bikes were being unloaded. Fortunately, everything turned out okay, and the bikes and bags all arrived unscathed. So in the early hours of the morning, we began a search for a place to stay for the night. This took far too long as multiple hotels turned us down, but more on that later. We found a bed and got some rest, and the next day cycled a quick 70 kilometers from Vadodara to the start line in Khambhat, now ready for the real journey to begin.
Hello, this is Sammy speaking. I haven't slept in 6 nights. I feel amazing.
You feel great?
Yeah, I feel great. I can't wait for my cup of instant coffee, which is my favorite.
How are you feeling this morning?
I feel, on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel a solid 3, Benson.
A solid 3. Chris, how are you feeling this morning?
Probably slightly more than a 3. Maybe a 4, yeah.
I think I'm coming in at a solid 6. That's pure positivity.
You gotta love the Banana King's attitude, children.
We are getting ready to go, a couple of minutes away. We're going to cycle down to the beach to get to 0 meters, and then we will kick off the ride from there. So we are at the start line. getting ready to go. We're just trying to calculate whether we're at 0 meters or not. Bit of a logistical sort out to start with. Not too much going on down at the Gulf of Khambhat. Just some people heading out fishing. That's about all we got going on.
It's called clean canteen, but it's not anymore, is it?
Journey starts here. Ready to go, Chris? Ready, Mahir? The ride begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And you might be able to feel how hot it is, just the sweat dripping off me. We've taken the heat for granted today. Pushed it real hard to the start of the day. A bit too hard for everybody. I think we paid for it around lunch. We should have pulled in early, but we didn't. Yeah, we're paying for it now. So we're stopping every 10, 11K, just having a quick break. We got one more stop and then we'll get in for tonight. Let's go. After punishing ourselves on the first day, we realised that cycling through the midday heat was just not an option, and that we needed to wake up around 5 AM to give ourselves a fighting chance. But with the team jet lagged and exhausted, waking up this early wasn't on the cards. We opted to take a rest day in a medibad so we could get some much needed food for recovery. And of course, lots of rest. We managed to do a little bit of sightseeing and get some last minute items from Decathlon to help us survive in the brutal sun. I got one final piece. I feel so abusive and I don't know why. After our rest and re-evaluation day, we hope that tomorrow will be better placed for the road ahead. Morning. It is day number 2 of riding. We took a rest day yesterday in order to get going earlier. So we want to start at 5 AM and then get on the road at 6. So that's what we're doing. You see the sun is just coming up. The heat is definitely a lot less right now, which is good. Yeah, we're going to trial it today. We're going to trial it today and see how that goes. Forgot to mention my new addition to the bike.
Looking flavors.
It's too early.
Roll out. Over the next few days, we started to get into the routine of waking up early and setting off before the sun was up. We struggled at first to figure out how to get breakfast on board, but became better at finding places to eat by following the locals. The heat was still intense, but properly fueled and avoiding the worst of it in the middle of the day was working out well for us. As we progressed further north, we headed up into some hills, which was incredibly tough for the big man on the handbike, but he got the job done. We also started to build bigger crowds in remote places. You can see Chris giving out an interview here by the side of the road, and another at a roadside cafe. Plenty of locals would ask for selfies, and sometimes we would ask for some back. There was also a ton of trucks honking us along. It's going to be a busy day on the highway. And plenty of cows about the place. Just a cow chilling in the middle of the road. Mind your business. We even started blending in with the locals and driving the wrong way down highways. This was after we took a wrong turn, but with a few days of early morning rides under our belt, we cycled into the second major city of our trip, Udaipur. We arrived in early, so set off into the city to do some sightseeing for the afternoon when this happened. Glad we finished up early today. So we posted up in a cafe and waited for it all to blow over, before getting a tuk-tuk ride home down an incredibly steep road.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Good as cooking. We've got some weight back here, actually. This is what it's like to be on 3 wheels before. I'm not sure I like it.
Join me next week to watch the journey continue. Please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you! And finally, I found a rose on the side of the road and decided to give it to Samo as a gift. Here's what went down.
Are you ready?
You put it in your mouth.
Don't put it in your mouth, I found it on the road.
See, this is how I get diarrhea.